All right, so in section 4 of chapter 3, we do the slope-intercept form. So section 3 was y equals mx, and now we're going to add to it. Okay, we're going to add to that today. So we learned how to graph just with a slope, and now there's something else. And it's called the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the y-coordinate of the point, where the line crosses the x-axis, or sorry, y-axis, not x, but it's where x equals 0. Okay, so let you guys get that information down. It's the y-intercept, it's called, and it's where the line crosses the y-axis, you know, the vertical axis.
Why do you lean on your pee-pee?
Because of us.
Okay, so I drew a little sketch just to show you that that dot right there, that's crossing the y-axis right there where the dot is. Do you see it? That's where x equals 0. So if you're given a point to graph or something, it would be like 0, 3, right? So the x is always 0 for the y-intercept. And the equation that we use, the slope-intercept form, is y equals mx, and then the b, the plus b, is our y-intercept now. So we're just adding to the y equals mx, but we're adding the b. The b is the y-intercept. We call this slope-intercept form. So again, the m still stands for slope. That's always in front of the x. And the b stands for y-intercept. And the y-intercept can be positive or negative. So you could have y equals mx minus b as well. And we'll do some of those today. Okay, so the first example. State the slope and the y-intercept. The slope and the y-intercept. And it'll give you an equation. I'll show you. Okay? So we need to find the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. And you can see there's a negative in there, and that's okay. Y equals 2/3 x minus 4. And to state the slope, pretty simple. M equals 2/3. That would be the slope. That means we rise 2 and run 3, right? And our y-intercept is -4. So we can just write m equals 2/3 and b equals -4. Any questions on that one? Y, m, and b? M stands for slope and b stands for y-intercept in Latin.
Can you like go
Okay?
I don't get it.
You just say the number in front of x. That's the m, right?
Will it be flip-flop?
Okay. Ooh, well that wouldn't be slope-intercept form, but it will be flip-flopped eventually.
Can you like scroll?
Okay?
Scroll up.
Yes.
So will there be 2 answers every time?
If there is a b, if there's, you know, on Friday, you just did y equals mx, there was no b, right? So you could say b was 0 there. So sometimes there's no b. You could write b as 0, but you don't have to. Okay?
In 5 minutes.
All right. So the next example, we have y equals negative 5x plus 3, and I need to find m and b. Don't make this more difficult than it is. You just look for the m, and you look for the b. So what's the m? What's the slope, guys? Negative 5. And what's the y-intercept, the b? 3. And that's it. So simple. Now, if you want to, and I added like a little 1 under there, you could put a 1, because remember that slope is rise over run. So that means on that slope we're going to go down 5 and over 1. So if it makes it easier for you to remember, you could put these over 1 if you just have a straight answer, right? Like just a number, like 2, 3, 4, you can put those over 1. So you're going down 5 over 1. Okay. So far so good? Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Just looking at it and identifying. Okay? Here's another one. Y equals negative x plus 5. Y equals negative x plus 5. I'm looking for the m, and I'm looking for the b. What do you guys think the m is? Just say it.
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Good. There's no 1 there, but it's like imaginary. And what's the b?
5.
Perfect. You guys are smart.
Thank you.
And again, you could put negative 1, and then I just put a little 1 under it if that helps you to realize you're going down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. The negative means you go down, right? Over 1. Okay? Simple. All right. Example 2. Write an equation of a line with a slope of negative 3 and a y-intercept of negative 4. So I want to write an equation that means y equals something, and I'm going to use the same format, the y equals mx plus b, and plug in these numbers. So you start with y equals something x plus something. The y and the x don't change, right? Those stay the same. So y equals, we have a slope of negative 3 and a y-intercept of negative 4. You guys think you know it? Y equals negative 3x minus 4. So the slope was negative 3, that goes in front of the x. And the y-intercept was negative 4, that just goes after the x. The y equals doesn't change, the x doesn't change, you just put the numbers in the right place. Now what does the negative 3 tell us to do, you guys? What does it tell us to do?
They go backwards.
Go backwards or down? Down 3 and over what?
Negative 4.
Nope, down 3 and over 1. And what does the negative 4 tell us?
The slope.
Who knows? Raise your hand. What does the negative 4 tell us?
Interpreting.
What is the negative 4, Taylor?
This tells us, like, the second, because it's like,
If you look at the top of your notes, it'll tell you the answer. What is the negative 4?
the y-intercept.
Yeah, negative 4 is the y-intercept. We're going back to that. So what point is that on your graph? If you want to graph it, what is the point?
0, 4.
0 what? Not 0, 0. 0 something.
0, negative 4.
0, negative 4. So if I'm going to graph it, I'm going to go to 0, negative 4 and put a dot. So that'll be negative, right? It's down. And then my slope is down another 3 and over 1 from there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can just graph these super fast and easy, just like Mr. Croker was trying to figure out, right? Okay, super easy. Now you could make a table and you could plug in values and you could get points and you could graph it, but that would take you way longer. Okay? But I'll show you how to graph these just using that information right there.
I was gonna say, like, on the homework, are you also, like, grading off of looks, or are you
No.
just, like,
No.
on every line?
Accuracy. Okay. Example 3, write an equation for the line shown below. So I'm going to give you a picture of a graph, and you'll be able to write an equation for it just looking at the graph. So before you were given the slope and the y-intercept, now you're going to be given a graph, okay? Super easy. Again, Mr. Croker had no idea. So here is a picture of a graph. Do you see it? Just a sketch. I am given those 2 points. Yes? The 4?
No, after 4 and after what is that? Line?
Line?
Oh. After that.
For the line shown below. Oh, sorry. For the line. Write an equation for the line shown below. So here's a graph, right? And it's at 0, 4. So what does the 0, 4 represent? Whenever x is 0, 4 is the y-intercept. It's intercepting the y-axis, right? And the slope is easy to find. We could just count, and we go down 1 and over 2. And you guys would have a perfect graph so you could count these accurately. But see how I put negative 1/2? So I went down 1 over 2, and that gave me my slope. The y-intercept is usually the easiest thing to find first, right? Because you just look, where does the line cross the y? And then the slope, you guys can count squares. I know you can count because you practiced this last week, right? Count squares. Okay? Yes?
So you start at 0, 4.
Uh-huh.
So you kind of go backwards on the equation. Where'd you get the 2, 3?
Oh, that was given to me. It's given.
Oh, it's
So they'll give you a line and 2 points. That's all given information. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to give you guys one to try. Or actually 2. If you turn to page 201 in your book, so turn there. Page 201, and you're going to do, I'll show you, D and E. Do it quietly, please. Alright. So here is where I want you guys to do this. Okay, so you have D, and there's a graph. This is why I'm not making you write this down, because it's much easier to look at your book, right? Write an equation in slope-intercept form. That's the y equals mx plus b for that graph. Then you have to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form with a slope 3/4 and y-intercept of -3. That's like example 2. So D, you look at the graph and write the equation, just like example 3. And E, you're going to write an equation like example 2. Okay, so I want you to do that. You can write it right in your book right here. See the D and E on the side? That's where I want you to write your answer. Okay, so D is from the graph. E is just given the slope and the y-intercept. Write the equation. And again, it should look like y equals something x plus something. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes. Write those down. Okay, about one more minute. Get those 2 equations. Okay, let's go over the first one. Let's look at the graph, okay? Who thinks I got that one? On the graph, and we need the slope, and we need the y-intercept, right? Okay, who thinks I got it? Ooh, a few people. Okay, Ryan, what do you think is the y-intercept for part D? What's the y-intercept right here?
Oh,
What is that?
negative 2.
-2. Okay, so we have the y-intercept, and from there you can count squares, right? Is that what you did? So what did you get for the slope? Well, oh, you put the slope was 1? Okay. Anybody else get a slope answer? Emma, you did?
Is it negative 5/3?
It's not negative. It's going up and to the right, so it's not a negative slope. It's not negative. Gavin?
5/3.
Yeah, it's 5/3. So from here, we have -2, right? We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we go over 3. 1, 2, 3. Do you see it? Up 5/3. So our answer for this one is y equals 5/3 x minus 2. Raise your hand if you got that right.
Wait, you did it again.
Y equals 5/3 x minus 2. Good. So you start with the y-intercept and you count. It's like our starting point. Okay, and then part E, you were given the slope and the y-intercept, so all you had to do was write it. So, Blake, what'd you write?
Y equals 3/4 x minus 3.
Good. Did you hear that? Y equals 3/4 x minus 3. You're given the information, you just have to write it. Raise your hand if you got that right. Good. Good, good, good. Any questions on those two? Question?
Can like the formula be switched where it's like instead of it being 3/4 x minus like -3, can it be like switched where the numbers are switched?
Well, it wouldn't be y-intercept form, but sometimes we're going to give it to you switched around, and you have to put it in the right order, the right format. Okay? All right. So the next thing I want you guys to look at is this one here. Okay? Oh, those were those two. Sorry. Those are the answers. Look at number 4 on page 201. So the same page you were at, but look at number 4. So it's this one right here, where it has, right here, number 4. Okay, so let's look at this together. I didn't want to make you write it all down. Sound good? So student council is selling t-shirts during Spirit Week. It costs $20 for the design and $5 to print each shirt. Okay, so a lot of times they give you like a printing fee, or to create the design, it's like a flat fee. If you guys have ever ordered shirts, you know about this? Okay, so it's $20 to start it, to do the design, and then $5 per shirt, right? The cost Y to print X shirts is given by Y equals 5X plus 20. So you can see this is the $20, this is the Y-intercept, right? It's like the upfront cost, and that's the slope because it's $5 a shirt. So they want you to graph it using the slope and y-intercept, okay? So to graph it, you see what they did? They started at 20. Do you see that? And then the slope was 5, so they just went up 5/1. Remember I said you could put it over 1? So up 5/1, and that gives me the line. And this makes sense. I should look at my line because I know the cost is going up per shirt, right? So it should go up. If yours is going down, you're doing something wrong. The cost is going up for sure. Then it says graph the y-intercept, right? So we got that. Write the slope 5/1. Like I told you, it's just easier for you to get used to doing that. Okay? And now see on number 5, I want you guys to read it and think about it for a minute. I'll read it out loud. But it says the slope 5 represents the cost in dollars per t-shirt. The y-intercept 20 is the one-time charge in dollars for the design. Okay, so what I want you guys to think about is something else in the real world where there's like maybe an initial cost and then a cost over time, or a cost per item. Think of something else other than t-shirts. Okay, and then raise your hand when you can think of like something that has a starting cost and then something that changes over time. It can be going up or down. Just something in the real world. Taylor?
I know, like when you go to like a fair or something, like tickets, where like you have like an entry fee, but then you also have to pay for like other stuff.
Good. So she said the fare, and that's what I was thinking too, because you have to pay to get in, and then you have to pay for all the stuff, like tickets for rides, food, all that. That can cost, right? And if it's something like a flat rate, like it's $1 per ticket, then we could graph that, right? What else?
The movies.
The movies. Good. So it costs to get in, and then
Pay for the food and
yeah, maybe you buy, popcorn or something. What else?
A car, like you start with the beginning price, but over time you have to like.
Okay.
pay.
So a car, and maybe you have to pay so much per month to
Yeah.
maintain your car, or to pay for gas or insurance or
Does your
something.
mortgage payment
Good.
look like that?
No.
When you said your phone.
Phone. Phone?
Yeah, the phone.
Yeah. So, your phone, like you pay and then you pay per month.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot of times, like you pay for a phone. Well, you don't. Probably someone paid for it for you, right?
You also buy a case.
True.
I have unlimited. I'm
But we're
fine.
talking about here, like, just so you guys don't get confused, because you're going to calculus now. What you're doing is you're telling me things that fluctuate and change. Something that's constant, right? The slope is a constant. Remember we talked about constant? It's a constant rate of change. Okay, so maybe you pay $200 for your phone, and it costs $50 a month. So the 200 would be the y-intercept. The $50 a month would be the slope. Does that make sense? Okay, so that was that one I wanted you to look at but not write down. And then what I want you to do is on page 202, so turn the page to 202, I want you guys to do F and G. It's right at the top. It's right here. Okay, it's right at the top. So I want you to graph this equation. Graph it, and then I want you to interpret it. That means you have to tell me what it means. When it says interpret, that means explain what it means. So after you graph it, tell me what the slope means and the y-intercept means. I can tell you that the answer is in the question. Okay? So graph it real quick. See if you can graph it. You have a starting point. You have where x is 0. You have a y-intercept. And you have a slope there. So see if you can graph that. I'll give you a minute or two. And then tell me what it means. Did you get it?
Are you sure you should be recording this?
Uh-huh.
25 minutes? Man.
Yep, I'm recording the whole thing so that when your parents go home and watch, they can hear you doing good work.
Have we been really quiet?
Okay? All right, so do you have a question? All right, shh. I'm going to give you a hint because some of you didn't know where to start. Now, is this slope going up? Is it increasing?
No.
Yes. Because it's not 0 right here, right? So we're going to start at 350. So go up to the point, go up between 3 and 4, put a little dot right there. Everyone do that if you haven't yet. And now I know my slope is 0.5 over 1 or 0.50 over 1, right? So I go up half to the 4 and over 1 and put another dot.
Wait.
Go up from 3.5 to 4, that's half, right? And put it, and then go over to the 1 and put another dot. Okay? So you start at 350, which is like 3.5 technically. And you go up 0.5 and over 1. So you're going to put a dot at 1, 4. Now you connect your dots and it's going up. Yours should be going up. Right? Okay. Now if we want to interpret the slope and y-intercept, we want to talk about it. So I want to know, raise your hand, what do you think the slope means and what do you think the y-intercept means? Benjamin, what does a slope mean?
The slope is that for each mile it goes up.
Good, the price per mile.
Yeah.
And what is the y-intercept?
$3.15.
Okay, so when you get in a taxi, they automatically charge you it's just a flat rate anytime you ever take a taxi, okay? And they charge you that rate. Sometimes it's $10, depends on the city, right? Sometimes it's $3.50 or $2 or something like that. Good job. Any questions on that one? No? Yes? We're good? We'll keep practicing these. That's not the last one, don't worry. All right, so what I want you guys to do for practice is page 203 in your book, 1 through 11. Okay? When you get down to 9 through 11, if you guys look at the bottom, it says use graph paper, right? I have graph paper for you, which you're going to need this chapter. I have some. If you don't want to use the graph paper and you want to just practice these, you could use the other side of your whiteboard. Remember these whiteboards I gave you? I'll get you one.
Whiteboard.
So you can graph it on here. That's fine with me. It's just for practice. So this might be good for you guys because if you mess up, you can erase it pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to use that, if you want to use graph paper, I have some in the back with the binder paper. It's underneath it. Okay? If you don't want to buy graph paper, you can print it for free at home. You just go to freegraphandpaper.com and you print graph paper. Okay?
I broke my printer.
Then you can use my paper. Okay? So I want you guys to do 1 through 11. If you finish before we go over it, because we'll go over it the last 5 minutes, then you go ahead and you can start your homework, which is on the board and right here too. Got it? Do the practice first.